can go out with that type of boat to fish for that length of time in a given period. So gear restrictions, or you can fish in certain parts of the ocean. So that has also been used. Limited entry. So okay, not everybody can fish. Only those with licenses or something are allowed to fish. And this has been used to manage issues too. Vessel buybacks. You know what that is? In Europe, they call them decommissioning subsidies. So you have a fishery, you realize there's too much capacity, and you say, okay, we want to readjust this fishery, so the government will provide resources to buy back some of the boats. So we take out 50% of the boats, because you can't tell them to stop fishing and go to sleep. You bribe them, you pay them to get out, those who are doing it. That's the buyback scheme. Oh, they do that a lot of times. And it doesn't work most of the time.
Welcome to Australia. Because I think most of the big fishing companies make their money from vessel buyback.
Yeah, rather than fishing.
In Queensland, it's to go.
Exactly. So they engineer it, they actually push for it.
About 3 years ago, they spent $250 million buying back about a third of Australia's fleet.
That's me.
In BC, they did this. They bought about 50% of the salmon boats years ago in the 80s. And you know, after a while, somebody did an analysis to see whether this was effective. So they bought 50%. But when the person did the calculation of the effective fishing effort, it was 95% of what it was. So there was a seeping back in. So they take the money and make the boat stronger, right? By better technology. So instead of 2 boats, I have one. And the one boat is more powerful than the 2 I had before, right? You cannot beat this thing. Oh my God. So buybacks, yeah, they're very popular here because politicians and the fishing industry love them, right? That's one way to buy boats. And then we have the individual transferable quotas, where people say, okay, we will let you have a stake in the biomass of fish so that you take care of it better. And I think we had a nice discussion on this yesterday. And people have argued for marine protected areas, MPAs. So just cut off part of the ocean and protect it from fishing. So and this is very popular with conservationists and biologists and some economists like me. I see this as a way of buying insurance because we make mistakes. So that's why you buy insurance for your house, right? In case something crazy happens, you have that. So if you cut off part of the ocean, say no fishing, if we mess up in the place we are fishing, hopefully this one can replenish it. So that's an insurance agreement for MDAs. Economists use that. Taxes. This nobody talks about, but initially when fisheries economists started actually using taxes to regulate was a very popular thing. Because really, if you think of this case, we talked about subsidies, right? You remember we talked about subsidies here? So a subsidy is actually a negative tax, right? Take tax from the private sector and you give subsidies to the private sector. So it's the opposite. A few years back, I gave a talk in the US and I made people laugh like crazy. I said, see, we're giving them subsidies. What we really need to do is, I said, you know, I was going to say taxes, but because I'm in the US, I cannot say taxes. So I said, we give them negative subsidies. And then hopefully you will sneak through, right? You pass through the Republic. No, we're giving you negative taxes, negative subsidies, right? They had a nice laugh. This was in Washington, D.C., actually. So, because if you tax people, if the subsidy will take this down, right? But actually, if you put the right tax, you can actually move this and you can swing this so that it passes through here. So you can swing your cost curve and it passes through here. And this point then becomes the bioeconomic equilibrium as the fishes see it. So they will stop fishing there. Because if you accrue the tax, they are not making money, so no people will come. So that's the idea of using taxes. So you force them to see a zero profit here, and all this thing then is run by the system. So this actually your total tax. You set it properly in the rate, so you get this as a tax that swings this year, and they think they are open access, but they are not. It's an artificial open access, and you achieve your goal and make money actually. So that's taxes. But these days, economies don't even want to mention this possibility actually. It's funny. Yeah. Okay, so this is the static model we've gone through. It's the core of fisheries economics. It's a starting point. Very static. Yeah.
How about, for example, if you want to fix the maximum price?
Wow, why don't you fix the maximum price? Where is the market?
Because you have shown that the price affects.
Oh, it does affect. So can you fix the price? If you can do it technically, that's one of the things, right? Because we saw that the price is 500 per ton, then you just take the growth at that point, the biomass of 1 million. If you can do that would work technically. See, I'm saying if in a big if, right? People have tried price controls and they haven't worked as far as.
So what can you do that? Like in the regulation?
Yeah, you know, price controls, really, you create a.
Economists don't like it.
Yeah, you know, I would love them. I'm an economist if I thought they would work, but I've seen them. You know what happens? You do that, then you create an informal market. People just sell it outside the official source, and I've seen this happen in Nigeria, in West Africa. So they don't seem to work as far as. But if you can do it, maybe a highly technological place where you can monitor what happens in the whole economy, you could do that. But what do you think? Somebody wants to weigh in on that? You want to control the price of fish?
If I was a fisherman and if you put a maximum price of $10 a kilo and everyone was selling at $10 a kilo, I would go somewhere else where I can sell it for illegally. So it's very difficult.
Yeah, in practice, that's the thing. Yeah.
Well, the branching fishery ground in Holland goes to the auction and the price is controlled. And
In the auction.
Yeah, and the
So-
fishermen are complaining. Yes, the companies are richer. They buy at €1 from them and process it and make a lot of money. So the fishers suffer it with the price control.
So you have the distributional issues also, right? Who really gets the money? And it's similar to going out and David was in Nigeria. This is David. Where are you hiding? Yeah, David is a Nigerian actually. Yeah. He spent 3 good years when he was a young man, and he was telling us yesterday at our table. There used to be controls of the exchange rate in Nigeria. Right? There's the official rate. Naira has to be converted to the dollar by this amount. This created a crazy informal market for chemists. If you, like his dad, if you're an official, well-positioned, and you are going on holidays, you go and get an authorization from the government that allows you to buy X dollars at the official rate, which is a complete giveaway. Because you take that dollar, you just go out there, and people are willing to give you 5 times more. Right? So they were flying business class when he was a kid. Free money. Yeah. So that is why I'm skeptical about this. Do you still fly business class?
No, I fly Pegasus Global.
So that is the reason why I really hate this myself.
I think the Australian wool example is a good one now. In Australia, they decided to fix the price of wool artificially, and they set up a company which would buy the wool from the farmers, but that was separate from the market. So at some stages they were making a profit, but unfortunately got to a point where they started to have to stockpile all the wool because no one wanted to buy it at the price that they were buying it from the farmers. They ended up with literally billions of bales of wool worth nothing. And they had to try to sell it, and they had to sell it over about a decade, I think, because otherwise they'd just flood the world market. But now they have a system that just fluctuates with the market, which is much more healthy.
I've got another example for you. In Holland, where they grow flowers, right, and there's a flower market, they actually can control the price to a certain degree because Dutch people are very obedient. they're
Very obedient.
or they're law-abiding citizens generally.
Yeah.
They tried to implement the same thing in Italy and it completely failed because people went around the market straight away because there was a dollar to be made. So some places you can if you can control it.
Depending on
Yeah.
where, yeah.
It's a
So-
cultural thing as well.
Regulation.
Yeah.
And one way you can do it, not directly, is to encourage substitutes, right? Like agriculture has been a big distance ceiling for it has really taken salmon prices down. But that is not true price control, but it's just trying to let in products that can substitute wild salmon. And so the prices have been going down. And that's one way you could do it, influence the price of that, the price control. Okay? Good point. This is the best part of the class when you have these interactions, I think. So this is all static now. But the world of fisheries is not static, right? So you need to do dynamic modeling. And these days, these are the objectives that come up a lot in discussions that we have now. So for fisheries, like most countries have this either in an act or even in the constitution. In the case of Namibia, they have this in their constitution, that you want to conserve the fish stocks through time. That is number one, that is given. And after you've done that, you want economically viable businesses, and you want to meet some social objectives. It could be jobs. So most countries have this or a variant of this. In Canada, it's very interesting. They have, number one, conservation, as fisheries are saying that. Number two, you have to meet the food and social, cultural needs of Canada's Aboriginal people. So that's the second priority. And then after that, you can have the profit and other things can be in. But these two are not top. So what do we do with this as economists? This is something you have seen already. You have the total revenue, total cost, and economic rent. So what we do in the dynamic model, actually, we talk about the net present value, NPV, which is really the summation of all the potential profit or rent you can make through time, discounted. The future ones you have to discount to a present value, so you will be comparing apples to apples. So that is what that equation does to you. And we don't have lots of time to go into that. But the key point is that this is not just about today, which is the opening year, but it's about a series of time from T to T to BT, which is your last time horizon, depending on what you're looking at, right? And this is your discount factor, which is defined as 1 over your discount rate, which is really something like an interest rate. So you do this subject to the biology of the fish. So almost all our bioeconomic models have this equation subject to the nature, right? Like you cannot take fish when there's no fish. For example, that's a constraint put on it. So you define this for fishery, you optimize it, you either use simulations or you use optimization analytical methods to solve the problem. So that is using the dynamic model. Okay, I've mentioned this before, time is important. Natural resource use involve decision making over time. For example, how much oil or gold should we extract from a mine this year, how much next year? Should salmon on the west coast of Canada be harvested intensively this year or not? These are the kind of questions we address. And so time is important because the supply chain of natural resources are always shifting due to what we do to the fish and due to lots of biophysical, as you guys know more than me, climate and so on. So you will have natural, physical, biophysical things happening that change with time and all that we do through our catching. So time is very important, as you would agree with me, right? If what we did today have no consequences, but what will happen tomorrow, work on it, and there is a link between today and tomorrow in natural resource model. Therefore, we need dynamic thinking. And I've talked about interest rate, discount rate. Everybody understands the discount rate now here, right? It's usually in percentage, and it tells you how much you value future payments compared to today's payments to you today, or values you get today in the future versus today. If your discount rate is very high, then you don't care much about the future. If it is low, you care a lot about the future.